Hey everyone, Marvin here, and welcome back to Buddy Up Gaming. In this video, we are doing a deep dive into one of the three main characters in Griftlands, Sal Fallon. Sal's story is one of revenge, resilience, and redemption, and it's packed with choices that can completely change how her journey unfolds. We'll explore the full arc of Sal's main campaign, highlighting the key moments where your decisions will shape not just the story, but whether Sal can actually accomplish her mission in Murder Bay. Once we've covered the major story beats, we'll shift gears and take a closer look at how to build your decks, both for negotiations and for combat. You'll see proven strategies that can help you handle even the toughest encounters. By the end, you'll have a solid foundation for building your own decks and developing a playstyle that fits the way you want to guide Sal through her journey. Sal's main campaign takes place in Murder Bay, where she's contracted to take out the top mob boss, Kashio. But for Sal, this isn't just another job, it's deeply personal. In her youth, Sal worked for Kashio and even helped her rise to power. The two shared a mentor-protege relationship, but it all ended in betrayal. Kashio sold Sal into slavery, forcing her to spend the next decade working off her debt. So when this contract comes around, it's not just a chance to start over. It's an opportunity to settle the score with the one who wronged her. The campaign begins with Sal reconnecting with Fish, a former bounty hunter and old friend who first taught her how to fight. Sal completes 2 quests before nightfall, and the cards you pick up during these early missions should help shape what kind of build you want to focus on for the rest of the run. When night comes, you'll take on a special quest, where Sal has to choose between helping one of 2 merchants. The merchant you support will reward you with a discount, while the other will take offense and charge you higher prices for their wares. Regardless of your choice, the night ends at the night market, where you can spend your hard-earned money on new cards for battles and negotiations, crafts, and even pets. Personally, I value cards the most, so I tend to side with Endo and Rake to make those purchases count. When Sal returns to Fish's bar, she discovers Kashio's goons have already arrived. Fish is being held hostage, and Sal will have to defeat Kashio's bodyguard in a tough fight to free her and end the first day. Day 2 begins with a big choice. Will you side with the Admiralty or the Spree to gain access to Kashio? Both paths are valid, but I usually side with the Spree. The unique cards Nadan awards are often more useful. You'll complete a few quests for your chosen faction before the day ends, but just when Sal is ready to rest, she's ambushed by an assassin. Take them out to close out the second day, and prepare for what's next. Days 3 and 4 are more straightforward, but no less intense. Both involve completing several quests before taking on major bosses. On day 3, Sal faces a monstrous creature at the docks while trying to acquire contraband for Fish. Then, on day 4, she's forced to confront the leader of the faction she didn't side with earlier. Depending on your previous choices, you'll face either Nadan or Ulo, and both can be brutal. By this point, you should have your combat deck mostly complete, with a clear strategy and reliable defenses. These fights will test your ability to manage your cards and adapt to ever-changing attack patterns. Finally, on day 5, Sal confronts Kashio at an exclusive weapons auction. Before the showdown, she gets a chance to scope out the items up for bid. You can secure up to 2 of them, one by pickpocketing using a unique item from Nadan or Ulo, and another by winning the auction itself. The auction is one of the most interesting negotiations in the game. Instead of destroying the opponent's core argument, you'll need to dismantle supporting arguments that represent the items up for sale. Meanwhile, other bidders will attack both those arguments and your own, making the negotiation feel like a chaotic tug of war. Only 2 items appear at a time, so if the one you want isn't available, it's better to let the other bidders win them and wait for your moment. The auction ends as soon as Sal wins an item or loses all her resolve. Kashio herself is one of the most dynamic final bosses in Griftlands. She claims any items you didn't win at the auction, and each one grants her a powerful new ability in the final fight. Which items she ends up with drastically changes the difficulty of the encounter, so your auction strategy should consider not just what helps Sal, but what you want to deny Kashio. Once the fight begins, lean into the strengths of your deck. Use your remaining consumables, stay aggressive, and be ready to adapt to Kashio's unique abilities. If you've built your deck thoughtfully, you'll walk away victorious and finally give Sal the justice she's been chasing since the beginning of her story. When it comes to negotiations in Griftlands, Sal has two distinct paths you can take: Diplomacy and Hostility. Each one feels completely different to play, but both can be incredibly powerful once you understand how to build your deck around their key mechanics. The Diplomacy build focuses on utilizing Good Impression and Plead cards to deal damage. The key thing to remember though is that Good Impression gets weaker every turn. That means you want to draw and play those cards as soon as possible. If you find yourself missing your key cards early, use Magnetic Charm and Brainstorm to cycle your deck faster so you can keep the pressure on early in the fight. There's also a niche version of the Diplomacy build that plays a little differently. Instead of relying purely on Good Impression, this variation centers on stacking influence with build rapport, then cashing it all in using Rapid Fire for massive bursts of damage. This combo becomes especially dangerous when paired with cards like Level Playing Field and Evil Eye, which multiply the damage dealt by Rapid Fire. It's riskier and takes more setup, but when it works, it's incredibly satisfying. The Hostility build is all about stacking Dominance, a mechanic that increases the damage dealt by your Hostility cards. Sal's unique Hostile Instincts card and a thin deck that cycles quickly lets you snowball your dominance faster than most opponents can react. Once you're rolling, cards like Veiled Anger and Oppress become absolute monsters, cutting through enemy arguments with ease. But there's one important caveat when running Hostility in Sal's main campaign: the Spree. Spree characters deploy a unique argument called Escalate, which grows stronger every time you play a Hostility card. Not only does its health increase, but so does the damage dealt by your opponent, and if you ignore it, your negotiation can spiral out of control. The best way to handle this is to bring cards that can delete Escalate in one hit. Bluster and Heavy Handed are both excellent picks for this job, keeping your offense strong without letting the Spree overwhelm you. No matter which negotiation path you choose, Diplomacy or Hostility, there are a few universal cards that belong in almost every deck. Keep Cool is one of the best ways to defend your own arguments, especially when upgraded into the Keep Composed variant. Bulldoze gives you extra actions for destroying an opponent argument, which can let you sneak in one extra attack during your turn. And Agitation is a reliable source of steady damage for either build, though it's most effective if you can deploy it early and keep it protected. When it comes to combat, Sal's playstyle can branch in two main directions: bleed and combo. These just happen to mirror the two upgrade paths of her unique combat card, Sal's Daggers, making her kit feel thematically tight and easy to build around, no matter which way you go. Let's start with bleed. Bleed is one of the most reliable damage over time mechanics in Griftlands. It works like this. At the start of an enemy's turn, they lose health equal to their bleed stacks, and then that stack count is cut in half. What makes it so strong is its consistency. It ignores defense completely, which means enemies are guaranteed to take damage every turn. Bleed builds are especially forgiving because the game gives you plenty of ways to apply the debuff early in your run. Two cards stand above the rest: Gash and Burst. Gash applies both Wound and Impair, which boosts the damage your target takes while cutting down the damage they deal back to you. Burst, on the other hand, applies Bleed equal to the damage dealt by the card, instead of a flat number. That means when you pair Burst with Gash, essentially doubling up on both buffs and debuffs, you can stack Bleed fast enough to shred through even the toughest opponents. If you find yourself getting into longer fights, Barnacle is another fantastic pickup. It lets you gain defense equal to the amount of bleed on your target, turning your offensive momentum into a defensive advantage. Just keep one important caveat in mind. Mechanical enemies are immune to bleed and wound. You'll still be able to fight them, of course, but you won't get the same damage amplification that makes this build shine. In those encounters, it's often smart to rely more on raw damage cards to get the job done. Now let's switch gears to Combo, the other core of Sal's combat potential. Combo is a buff that builds up as you use cards like Gut Shot. Sal can then spend it using devastating finisher cards like Blade Fury or Carve, which unleash massive bursts of damage once you've built a large enough stack. The catch is that Sal loses half her combo every time she takes damage, which means defense is absolutely essential. Her basic defense cards can hold up if upgraded, but the standout option is Shoulder Roll. It gives you defense equal to twice your current combo stack, creating a satisfying feedback loop. More combo means more protection, and more protection means you can keep your combo for even bigger hits next turn. Like in her negotiation decks, it's important to include a few ways to draw cards if your hand runs dry. Rummage is the go-to choice for both builds, giving you a quick hand refresh whenever you're fishing for a key card. For combo decks specifically, Murder Bay Boxing fits perfectly as it's fairly easy to maintain 2 combo stacks on Sal. A few generic battle cards shine no matter which direction you go. Silent Steel is one of the best. It costs 0 actions and lets you land free damage right at the start of battle, making it a no-brainer addition to any deck. Kidney Shot is another excellent utility card, letting you stun an enemy who's about to unleash an attack you can't defend against. That brief pause can easily turn the tide of a fight. While Bleed and Combo are Sal's 2 bread and butter strategies, there's room to experiment. Some of the game's most entertaining decks use the improvise and discard mechanics to add variety and unpredictability to your combat. For instance, using Deception to improvise a discharge card into your hand can wipe out an entire group of enemies in one move. I hope this guide helped you get a better feel for what Sal has to offer in Griftlands. Building a deck that truly clicks, whether for negotiations or combat, always involves a bit of luck. But more than that, it's about creativity. The real joy comes from learning how to make the most of what you're given. Finding those little synergies that turn a random hand of cards into a cohesive, unstoppable strategy. And when it all comes together, when your deck starts flowing and every move lands exactly how you planned, it's an incredible feeling. That surge of momentum, turning what should have been a tough battle into a total cakewalk, is one of the most rewarding moments Griftlands has to offer. If you've been enjoying Sal's campaign and are thinking about pushing yourself further, check out the guide linked in the description. It breaks down every card in Sal's arsenal and shows how to use them effectively in the builds we discussed today. And if you found this video helpful, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to Buddy Up Gaming for more family-friendly gaming guides, reviews, and strategies. Thanks for watching, and good luck out there in Murder Bay.